society is becoming less masculine over time, right? Men's testosterone is going down. Women are much more vocal and present in public life. Now, obviously, we don't approve of that, but you know.
Sorry.
But you know what I mean, right? Society is becoming more feminized, and you can think that's a good thing, or you can think that's a bad thing, or you can be neutral about it, but it is happening. Would you agree?
I do worry about men, and I don't spend a lot of time on that, but yes.
Yeah, and some of the values that drive some of these social movements, they are quite obviously stereotypically more feminine than they are masculine, because they're based on things like empathy and compassion and, you know, all of that, taken to an extreme where they become quite damaging, actually. And I just wonder whether, to some extent, the fact that we so prize compassion and empathy to an extreme that's dangerous is maybe a product of the fact that society is readjusting to a new dynamic between men and women. And I mean, you said it yourself, it's mothers that often behave in this way, right?
Are there just too many women around?
Yeah, and are they talking too much, and, you know, have they got too much power? I mean, do you see what I'm saying, or am I being...
I do. It's really difficult as a woman knowing how I go about this world and being a specific sort of woman. Amazing, legend. But it's very difficult to then talk about the impact on men. I think a big danger factor for men is porn. I think that's a big danger thing for society in general. Let me just get that out of the way. I think it's very difficult to talk about male violence and accept that most men are not going to beat you up in your own home, right? Most men are not going to rape you on a night out if they can. And so these themes that we talk about, it's a minority of men. I've got 3 sons. I want my sons to be men. And I've got a very wise person I know is a man called Brian. And he talks about masculinity is your sword in your sheath. It's having all the power, knowing that you can use it, but not having to, but it being very, very super aware to everybody that you've got it. That's the masculinity that I'm really attracted to. I'll have a door open for me, actually, every day of the week.
Yeah.
And heavy things carried, because I'm 5'1".
I offered to carry it back.
It wasn't that heavy, though.
That's why I offered.
I was like, oh. He's like, sure. But I do worry. I don't know if I think that this particular theme is all about men being emasculated, because I think it's the height of, I don't even like toxic masculinity. I think it's mostly bull. But I do feel there is an element of real toxic kind of at the peak of masculinity is then like the ultimate woman-hating thing you could do is pretend that you are one. Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm somebody that doesn't cry very much, right? I'm relatively stoic. Some horrible things have happened to me in my life and it doesn't break me at all. I think I've mentioned this before. If I had a husband that broke I wouldn't like that at all.
No.
But then I'm not going to break.
No. I get, what I'm getting at is, it's a difficult one to discuss, and it's difficult for you because you're a women's rights campaigner. That's your focus. I guess what I'm saying is, and again, Jordan Peterson mentioned this, is if you think strong men are dangerous, just wait until you see weak men.
Oh, I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
I just don't know what a strong man. It's a difficult thing to describe. What does a strong man look like? I think a strong man takes his responsibilities as a father very seriously.
Yes.
I think a strong man wants to protect the mother of his children as well as his children, right? And then my role is to protect my children and maybe look after my husband. My role as a wife is to serve him, and his role as a husband is to serve me. And that will, of course, make a difference in the way that we do that, because I had babies. My role, my reproductive role is to have the babies. I can't possibly think that something so important wouldn't have an impact on the rest of my personality and life. And I mean even childless women. I think we have instinct, which I like to call like legacy memory, which is we we bring the experience of our ancestors, not in a kind of like kumbaya spiritual way, but just I believe that if you can have instinct that is informed in your genes and you know how to do it, then why wouldn't you carry anything else from previous generations? Why wouldn't it be sort of in your blood and your bones? So I do get you, and I think you're right. I just wonder if some of the things that we had to change for women to be considered equal, because our society is set up on the structure of success and finance. So in order to have autonomy, you have to have money. But in order to have a baby, you have to rely on as a woman, you have to rely on somebody to provide that money. And I've got women who are like, I wouldn't rely on my husband. I was like, well, the state then? Is that different? Is the state not the patriarchy, if you're saying that your husband is? I mean, I'm all up for relying on my husband for cash. It suits me fine. But so we had to get through some of the things that genuinely did subjugate women.
Yes.
We had to get through it, and we found these particular solutions, and they're not perfect by any stretch. And maybe this is the consequences.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm getting at, right? Because the progress, inverted commas, that we've made over the last 60 years, there's been some good things about that. But like when you start pulling on the sweater, you don't know which lines are going to come out of it. And it just seems to me that what you're talking about there is considered trad nowadays, which is the idea that a man and woman get together and have children and look after each other in different ways. And, you know, Louise Perry, I don't know if you're familiar with her work.
I am. She wrote a lovely article about me in The Spectator.
Yeah. Is that sarcasm?
No.
No, yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah. And her book is very good. And I think her book is basically making this point. It's like the sexual revolution had its benefits, but look at this.
Not great, though. I mean, I don't know too many women who have a good time in a short relationship.
Quite.
Yeah.
Quite. But that is now the standard for young women.
Yeah, I mean, they've been, both men and women have been coerced into thinking that there is fulfillment in numbers.
By the way, you know what a lot of women don't understand, I think, is that it's not good for men either.
No.
It's really not. It's really not. It doesn't make men happy. There's a small minority of men who are happy with it for a while, and then eventually they have kids and settle down with somebody. But for most men, it's not good either.